Welcome to Horticultural Hints, Hoaxes, and Hacks. Join Dan and Randall as they share mountains of horticultural information, expose horticultural hoaxes, and provide useful horticultural tips.
So Randall, general purpose fertilizers, these like 10-10-10s out there, I see them all the time at the garden centers. I talk to some commercial growers even who are like, so how much 10-10-10 should I put on this crop right now to make it do well? And it's not that simple, is it?
No. I get why people recommend it, and there's extension publications that recommend it too, as a general garden fertilizer, because they have no idea if you're lacking in one of those three things. And so it's sometimes recommended just as like a catch-all. And also, how many people actually weigh their fertilizer when they spread it? I mean, commercially, we almost always do, right? Because there's a lot at stake from a financial standpoint, from environmental standpoint. But a lot of hobby or homeowners sometimes don't always weigh their fertilizers. And so it's tough to over apply something that's only 10% nitrogen versus something that like urea, that's 46% nitrogen, so some people are looking at them as like safe products, right? But the problem is it doesn't really reflect what nutrients a plant takes up. To kind of get into the weeds here, hey, horticultural term there. If you would take a plant, send it into a lab, and look at how much nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium is in there. The nitrogen and potassium, so nitrogen is the first number in that fertilizer label. Potassium is the third number or a form of potassium. Most plants are higher in N, a little bit less K, but the P number is only like 1/8 of those other two, something like that. And so if we're just trying to replace what a plant's taking up, 10-10-10 or 12-12-12, it doesn't reflect what a plant takes up. We're over applying phosphorus a lot. And that's a problem if we're doing that year after year after year.
So a better all around, what I'm hearing you say, a better all around would be like an 8-1-6 or an 8-1-8.
Yeah, or 4-1-3 or something like that. Yeah, where it's high in nitrogen, low in P, and moderate K. And even if you're low in one of those P and K numbers, we're at least applying what the plant will need and take up. And the other kicker is a lot of states are actually making it illegal to apply phosphorus to like a lawn unless you have proven with a soil sample, tissue sample, whatever, that you actually need P. There's been some studies in Minnesota where I think they found like 95% of all lawns had high or enough P to grow those crops. And so, but yet year after year, we're applying phosphorus when we don't need to. And phosphorus doesn't move very quickly in the soil. It runs off the soil with heavy rains and so forth. So if you have a lot of phosphorus or P in your soil, it's probably going to be there as long as you don't have erosion or runoff. So you may not need to apply it for many years. You may be fine.
I thought of, while you were talking, another almost evenly, across the top, like not 10-10-10, more like 1-1-1 or 2-2-2.
Yeah.
That a lot of people feel like is the magic bullet for all. Sorry. I think the magic bullet's actually a blender. It's not
fancy blender.
Yeah, no. So there's another one out there that's pretty even across the nutrients, like 1-1-1 or 2-2-2, that a lot of people think is a silver bullet, but actually can produce these high phosphorus numbers too, and that's compost. And so a lot of I think we're going to have to do a whole nother episode about this because it's its own topic. But just because you're an organic grower who is using a lot of compost doesn't necessarily mean that you are not putting down excessive phosphorus. These are especially manure-based composts, but even if it's just yard waste and things like that, it can be pretty evenly balanced, and your plants will need a lot more nitrogen than they do the phosphorus in those situations too. And to apply enough compost to give the nitrogen that they need, you're putting on a lot more phosphorus and just a higher volume of that compost than the 10-10-10 fertilizer.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. The key is not what's the absolute number, it's what's the ratio. Like a 10-10-10 is the same basically as a 1-1-1 or 2-2-2. Because if you're applying 100 pounds of nitrogen, you're going to apply 100 pounds of that phosphate number in the middle. So it's all about the ratio between those numbers. And we've talked about how phosphorus causes plants to stretch if you apply excessive phosphorus. And the issue is, when phosphorus runs off, it gets into surface water, and we get these algae blooms and all that kind of stuff. And so it's definitely something we don't want to over apply.
Yeah.
So I think
Go
ahead.
I was going to say it's a big part of this dead zone phenomenon in the Gulf of Mexico, this phosphorus running off. So it's
part of it. Yeah, it's nitrates. It's a lot of things.
It's a lot of yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think sometimes people question why do we always apply nitrogen? And there's, so yeah, we need P and K, we need nitrogen, but why nitrogen more than those others? There's a couple thoughts behind that. One is, if you're looking at most fields or backyards, that soil is not what it used to be. When the forest was removed or the prairies were plowed or something like that, that organic matter would release nitrogen every year. That we don't quite have that as much as we used to. The other reason is, if you look at a prairie or woods, there's a mixture of legumes. Those legumes take nitrogen out of the air, put it in the ground. We largely remove those from our landscapes and our production fields. And so, clover and a lawn, most people don't like that. And I understand why. I personally, doesn't matter to me, but I live in the country. And so my lawn aesthetics are not my priority, but, we don't have those legumes, side by side with our plants like we would in a diverse prairie or forest or something like that. And so that, coupled with the fact that, our soils aren't probably what they used to be, we probably do need to apply more nitrogen. So always use 10-10-10 or your equal nutrient fertilizers or it's a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio. They call them general purpose. I always say they're not general purpose. They're not what we should be using all the time. Again, it's a very non-nutrient dense fertilizer that's easy to apply because people don't overdo it very quickly. Really, something that is higher in N, low in P, moderate K, more reflects what a plant takes up. And so that's probably something you should seek out yearly rather than 10-10-10 if you really want to apply what your plants actually need.
And I was going to try to leave organic growers, you mentioned urea as being a high N one that a person who is non-organic would use. But if you're looking to do organic, there are some, high N fertilizers that are out there that you can use to supplement compost, because compost it's not like don't put it down. It's just like get up to your P levels with the compost and then supplement with these other products like blood meal and feather meal are both high N products. They're like 10 to 13 in the N and then 0 on P and K.
Yeah.
And alfalfa meal is something we're around like 3-1-2. So you can get started with that too. And there's several others out there, but those are some ones to get started with.
Cool. So 10-10-10, 12-12-12, whatever as the best fertilizer. Choose something else. It's fine to apply that if we're low in P and K, but as an every year addition to your lawn, your garden, your small scale fruit vegetable plantings, there's better options that are probably more environmentally sound choices as well. So
nice.
Cool.
Yeah. Thanks, Randall.
All right. See ya.
See ya.